Hello, we are now live. Thank you everybody for jumping on and joining us. I'm super excited that we have the team here to talk more about reports. Now, three main things we're going to focus on today, but of course we're going to dive into any rabbit holes that do come up. We're going to go over all the reporting options that you have to work with today, which reporting features to use for each circumstance. So if you have a specific use case that you have in mind, throw that in the chat and we can review that as well. And then the powerful metrics that everybody should keep in mind. Again, folks, we're looking at real time and what's happening right now, but also historical reporting as well. So that way we can kind of hit both of those areas.
All right. So before I start sharing my screen and really walking you through a real life demo, I quickly wanted to mention that reporting in Tymeshift is one of the most powerful features and aspects of Tymeshift, because it's really giving you a very comprehensive understanding in what is currently happening within the team, what are the possibilities in potentially cost savings, quality improvement, productivity improvement, and at the same time, you can spin it up in minutes. Once you have your forecast set, which we're gonna deep dive on the next session, and then once you have your schedule prepared, the next thing is actually to really take a look at who are the agents that came into work, that logged into work. So this is why we recommend also utilizing the agent attendance feature. Here you will see who is actually scheduled for today. So you will see what are the shifts that the folks are scheduled for, the total time that they were scheduled for, and actually if they're logged in. So you will be able to see if somebody's late to log in, if somebody actually left early as well. So here you can see some breakdowns. Left early, we're late to start the day. If anybody had overtime that they worked, were there any unplanned or planned times off within the team as well? And what is currently the occupancy of each agent? So this is a great way to really see, quickly to check, if your team is actually working and if the folks are there where they're supposed to be, right? So you prepared your schedule, you need to make sure that people are actually there. So that would be a quick point here to take a look at the current day to see who is working at the current time. You can actually group it by Zendesk group. Quick note, Zendesk group and Zendesk agents will sync with Tymeshift automatically. So you will see the reflection of all the groups that you have in Zendesk. So here you can group either by group, by team, by specific locations, which I think Lilith covered in the previous session, or you can select to view all agents altogether. Now, there are a few filtering options here as well. So you can opt to see only those that are currently clocked in, currently actively working within Zendesk, or folks that are clocked in but not scheduled. So maybe you forgot to create a schedule for someone, or you called in for an agent to come in. Maybe somebody got sick, so you made some swaps. So you realize, okay, I have Sophia here who actually doesn't have any schedule, so I need to prepare something for her. So I could track her schedule adherence and make sure that she's working on the tasks that I plan her to focus on. So for example, Beatrice, she's supposed to start from 9 until 5, which is 12 minutes late right now. So there we go. She is not here, and I'm able to then basically make a decision to potentially check in what's happening. Is there traffic, or maybe the person is sick, or whatever that might be. So just a quick way for you to really have a great understanding in who is currently available on the team to handle the workload that is coming through. So that's for the attendance piece. Then you can also actually select options to hide certain folks. For example, folks that don't have any schedule or with no activity. You can also select to view only certain locations, which I think also was something that Lilith covered in the previous session. So if you would want to track maybe your outsourced partner teams, right? So you wanted to see how they're adhering to the attendance, you would be able to do that here. Same for the teams, you would be able to select certain teams only and groups as well, which I mentioned are synced from within Zendesk. So that's the agent attendance feature, which you will see under this folder here, agent attendance. And just a quick note, if you made some changes and you selected different options here in the filtering section, to reset, you would use this little option at the bottom to quickly reset all the filters, and it will go back to the usual. All right, so the next feature that we have is the real-time agent states. So you will see it again here on the top navigation bar under this little folder. We call it agent status. So first of all, you will see the workstream itself under the activity, but also you will have the possibility to see into the actual ticket that is related to that workstream. So, and here you can see that the ticket is 92121. And once you click on it, you will be taken to Zendesk to actually see that ticket. So let me share the other tab. So there you go. Right away from Tymeshift, you will be able to click into the ticket to see if the agent, for example, might need any help, if they have been on that ticket for quite some time, to understand what is happening, if they might need some training, coaching session, or maybe the agent simply left for the day and didn't close their Tymeshift and Zendesk, and they continue to track that activity. So let me go back into Tymeshift, agent states. So here as well, if you notice, we have an activity which is called Untracked. You can think of it as an idle time. That basically means that agent is not working on any particular ticket at this time. They're simply viewing general cues, and let me show you how it would reflect in Zendesk. All right, so right now, I will be tracked on this particular ticket, which is 92121. But if I click away from the ticket and I'm just viewing general Zendesk views, you will notice that I will be tracked on the what we called untracked time. So this is basically saying that right now the agent is not necessarily productive, they're idle. They're not looking into any ticket. Let me go back into agent states, into Tymeshift. So as I mentioned, you will see here the work streams, the actual ticket that you can click through and see if the agent needs any help. You would be able to see the activity duration. Keep in mind, this is our demo account, so some things might not fully reflect here. Adherence, if the agent is currently out of adherence, that would mean, and if you see I'm hovering on Alexander, so you can see that currently he is scheduled on, where did it disappear? On tier 2 activity from 9:15 until 10:30. However, his current activity is untracked time. Oh, it just changed to chat. You see how it's real time. So that's great. So now you can see that Alexander is on this particular ticket, just started to track time here. And he's actually out of adherence because right now he was supposed to work on tier 2 activity. So that's why we would also reflect that information here. Now, if some of the folks are using talk states and Tymeshift fully and seamlessly integrates with Zendesk Talk to read the talk states and actually track the duration. So here, for example, David, we have him on offline status for quite a long time. So let's pick someone else, because it's probably a demo account here. So for example, we have Beatriz, who is currently working on tier 2, and her current talk status is away for 7 minutes. So you can also have a great visibility here to see what is for example, who is currently on calls or offline. So you can quickly, if you see, for example, calls waiting in the queue and you see some folks offline but active, you can quickly pull them in to grab those calls to make sure that SLAs are not affected. So now, just as in the agent attendance feature, we also have some filtering options here. So for example, we can take a look at folks who are currently in a work stream. So you can quickly scan through and see who is on different activities. Or for example, we can hide folks with no activity. So you would be able to see only the groups of agents that are currently active and working. And now the same principle for locations. You could only look at certain locations instead of all. And teams, for example, if you have different team leaders, let's say if you have different speaking teams within the support group, you could, as a team leader or manager, you could opt to only look at your team, right? And then the other managers and team leaders would be looking at theirs. Depends on really the workflow and agreements that you have. Some of the customers, they would use this feature and then the dashboards that I will touch in a moment on their open spaces. So they would have screens hanging around and they would actually pull Tymeshift data, Tymeshift features to really share with everyone who's currently on which activity, so they can actually communicate. For example, teams can communicate openly between themselves, asking for a short break or if someone could hop on a call. So it's great visibility and opportunity for teams accountability as well. Alrighty, moving on next to the agent activity. So just a quick note before we move here. Keep in mind that here in the agent statuses, refresh rate is approximately 10 to 15, 20 seconds. So really, you will be able to see all the changes happening in real time. And all of these different snippets of activity will then be reflected in the agent activity feature. Yeah, there we go. So here you will have a visibility of what different activities happen for each of the agents throughout the full day. You will be able to go to the previous days as well. And you would be able as well to see the current day activity. And for example, as we saw, let me share my Zendesk for now. So you can see I am currently logged into a break activity. Let me change it to lunch for now. Keep in mind, this is all automated, so activities might change by themselves from time to time, but I'm also overriding as I demo. And let's get back to the agent activity. I wanted to show you how it changes throughout the day. So you will be able to search for a specific agent in all of our features, but just realize that I didn't mention that before on the previous ones. But here, let's take a look at my timeline and my daily activity. So let me zoom in a little bit. And here you can see that I was tracking for the moment that I was sharing before. I was on the untracked activity for 49 seconds. Then I was automatically kicked into a break. And now I changed it for lunch. So you will be able to see the real-time activities reflected here as well, and the historical days view as well. Let me zoom out a little bit. So let me clean the search field. So for example here, oh, perfect. Let's take Lilith. We have her here as well. So once you have the timeline activity visible here, it's great. It will give you some context and you will be able to actually take a look into what activities happen, also not only from the ticket perspective and work streams, but also from the general tasks. And as I just shared, the breaks, the lunches, and so forth. Now, if you hover and you will see, okay, so Lilith was working on tier 3 activity. Here, once you click on that block itself, you either will be able to edit the activity or open the Zendesk ticket, which will take you to that specific ticket again. So you can have more context if you, for example, see a long activity tracked, where you would want to really consult and see why Lilith took some time there. Maybe there's some questions that were a little bit more complex. Maybe there's some training that needs to happen. So you will be able to get to Zendesk ticket from the agent activity as well. Now, if you wanted to make some edits, you will be able to do that as well. So you will have this model open up, and if you could also actually delete the activity or that specific block as well, or make some time changes as well. For example, maybe tier 3 activity took a little bit longer, so the agent can come and actually share a little bit more. Yes, I was working on the tier 3, but I needed to go to my colleague to consult and so forth. So you could make those edits here too. Now, once you click on agent, you will see here a quick summary appears on the right. So here you will have a detailed overview of how the day actually went by in terms of different activities. You will see that actually Lilith started at almost 6 a.m., but she's still clocked in, so she's still tracking the activity. And then how the activity breakdown looks like. So tier 3 took 46 minutes, phone 51, and so forth. The important piece here is to really take a look at the untracked time. Here, all looks good, 4 minutes for now, so no worries. But in some cases, some agents will accumulate quite a bit of time. And this is something that you will definitely need to understand a little bit better, why the agent is accumulating more time. Are they not necessarily being productive? Maybe they are doing activities outside of Zendesk, so then they would need to be coached to use the aux codes, or as we call them, general tasks. Here as well, if the agent is using Zendesk Talk, you will be able to see the talk states breakdown, but it seems like Lilith's profile is not using it. Now, additional feature here in the agent activity is when you expand the details next to the agent, you will be able to see their current activity tracked throughout the day, their scheduled activities and intraday planned for them, and how they adhere to what was scheduled. So here you can see that actually Lilith was scheduled to start with chat, then go have a meeting, and then get back to chat activities, and then another quick break, and then chat. However, if you look at the actual activities, you will notice that nothing really is matching here. Therefore, here you will see all those little blocks of time where she actually tracked time compared to what was scheduled, showing as out of adherence. This is also important for everyone to keep a track of, simply because you're forecasting and scheduling people where you need them, when you need them. So it's important to also follow through and make sure that your team is actually focusing on what's needed instead of answering different types of tickets. So keep that in mind. And let me see if I can find some other profile. Let's see. Okay, let me find a better one. Yeah, so here I wanted to show as well for Beatrice talk states. So here we are also reading the different talk states throughout the day that the agents have on Zendesk Talk. So you will be able to see that distribution as well, how that looks like. So we have the away, offline, transfers only, and online, and then the call when the call happens, and the wrap up if it's set up. Now, additional thing that I wanted to share, though not for Beatrice, Dushka, or Lilith, we have Ivy's profile here, where you can see where she actually did match what was actually planned for her for the schedule. So you can see that she was in the adherence, but now the important piece is that you will be able to see here on the agent activity the percentage of how much time she actually did adhere to what was planned for her. So for now, she has 16. So this is what we have on the agent activity. Now, if you wanted to find a specific user, of course, you can use the search field, or you can simply hit Command F, and this is where you will be able to search for your agents. Very hot tip on some hotkeys here. All right, any questions when it comes to agent activity?
Yes, we were hoping that you can touch on multiple work streams and no work streams in agent activity, and talk about the disadvantages we might see if agents are working in multiple work streams.
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Lilith. So yes, we do from time to time see customers or agents that would be tracking actually multiple work streams. So here, for us, it's already an alert that it seems that there are two different or more work streams that actually have the same parameters, the same, let me open that up. Let me take a look. Tymeshift VIP and tier 2. So the same setup. And this is why when we track the ticket 24046, Tymeshift will recognize that this ticket matches two different work streams based on the conditions that were set. And now some of the difficulties or challenges that you have to consider when you see multiple work stream situation is that you might be forecasting double the workload, because then the forecast will also show the volume for Tymeshift VIP and tier 2. You might be then also overstaffed, because we will also consider the folks that you might need to cover Tymeshift VIP and tier 2 workstream, although they're actually matching each other's conditions completely. So whenever you see multiple work streams, please make sure to take a look into the parameters and see what needs to be excluded or included to really specify what is Tymeshift VIP versus what is tier 2. And now if we have no work stream situation, let me see if I can spot anything here. If we have no work stream situation, oh, maybe this one would be good for, okay, so I'll take a look at that one in a moment. If we have the no work stream situation, basically what it says that you have a type of work that you didn't specify at all, that you didn't define in the work stream section. That means that we are not forecasting for this type of work, not preparing the suggested staffing that you might need for this type of work. We're not scheduling any people for that type of work as well. So you might be missing certain chunk of workload that needs to be adhered for, or what's the word I'm looking for? Prepared for, I guess. And then basically we will not be able to pull the information that would be required for that specific type of work. So as well, when you see no work stream in your agent activity, click into the ticket itself to understand what are the groups, the brands, the tags that are not being included in your current work stream setup. And maybe you might need to create a new work stream to actually account for that workload. That's what I was looking for. Account for that workload. All right. So from the agent activity, so here you will be able to see the full timeline throughout the day. As well, you can define groups, groups of folks differently. So either by Zendesk group, by specific team, location, or see all agents all together. You can also collapse. So you can only take a look at certain teams at a time, or any different grouping section that you select. You will be able to go to the previous days, as I mentioned in the past. And here you will be able to see currently active folks, the number of currently active folks. Now, let's move into the bigger picture, the reports. So this is where you would see the historical reports. So I want to say it was less than a month ago that we actually released the new section here that we call the default reports. And here we have the agent attendance information. So it will be even more elevated summary to what we covered in agent attendance. So agent attendance, it basically shows you the current day. And I believe you can also go in the past. Samantha, correct me if I'm wrong on the agent attendance. But here in the historical agent attendance section, you will be able to see a great overview of all that happened. For example, if you wanted to run for a full month, to see how your team was actually adhering to certain adhering to schedules and to planned attendance, right? So you will be able to see here the details of the schedule time, the total time, attendance duration overall, attendance rate. So for example, if the Teresa was scheduled overall for 11 days and 6 hours, but actually she worked 11 days and 8 hours, so you will see that her attendance rate is higher than 100%. As well, you will be able to see her occupancy rate, how much time actually from all that total time that she collected, she was actually spending on productive tasks. How much time she spent on unpaid general tasks, how many times she was late, the total late duration, how many times she left early, what's the time that she left early, what was the overtime occurrences, and total overtime duration. So it has a very comprehensive detail here. I know some folks would use these reports for their payroll systems as well. You would be able to export this information as well. And once expanded, you will be able to see the breakdown for each day that we select for the date range here. Now, you will not be able to modify this default report. You see here the pencil is grayed out, but you would be able to make a copy of it once you click on those 3 vertical dots. So duplicate, and here it will actually then appear under the custom reports. So from this section, you will be able to edit and modify it as you see fit. So let's rename it. We can select your time zone and then select all the different metrics to exclude at this time, because we copied from the default report, which has all the details. And then you will be able to set certain dimensions. So you can group it on the first level by agent or location, activity type, etc. And the second one, as we saw in the report, it was selected by time. So you could have breakdown by day. If you wanted to, you could do it by time and by 15-minute increments, by hour, and so forth. And at the same time, you have an option to select some filters. So let's say you just wanted to take a look into phone activity. So you would be able to track that here as well. You can combine different work streams as well. You can select certain locations, teams, and agents, specific agents as well, if you wanted to. All right, so let me cancel for now. And you see how quickly it really catches all the information. So all you need to do, once you build some of the templates, these are all custom built, so you can really slice and dice all the information as you see fit, but it really loads very fast. So I hope all of you will enjoy that too, because we're crunching data extremely fast. Now, couple of other reports that we recommend would be very useful for most of the folks. So first of all, we can start with the activity by workstream. Activity by workstream, report by workstream. It's a late evening here in Portugal, so bear with me. So yeah, with the activity by workstream, you can easily see For example, let's take a smaller time frame. We can look into Wednesday. Yeah, let's take a look at the previous day. So here we can take a look into the breakdown by all the different work streams and the general tasks that we have in place. So for me, what would be interesting actually is to take a look at the untracked time. I want to understand how much time in total the team spent on the untracked time. That's 10 hours. That's basically one full FTE for the day. So that should really tell you that if we're looking into 10 hours of untracked time in one day, if we would actually set initiatives within the team to reduce that time as much as possible, there could be potential savings of one FTE, one full FTE, or otherwise one full agent. So now if you see 10 hours being tracked on untracked time, if you expand it, you will be able to see by certain team and then potentially by agent if we have it set. No, we don't. So if I wanted to see actually who tracked that untracked activity, I would click on the pencil, and then in the dimensions section, I would be able to actually make some changes. Oh yeah, and quick note, it's a great example. So if you notice, we had the activity type untracked, then the second level was the team, and the third level in this case was ticket ID. Untracked time does not relate to any ticket because the untracked time is actually being idle, not working on any tickets. This is why it didn't show up. So I would want to change that instead of ticket ID into agent. So let's save that. See how quickly it crunched the numbers. There we go. So untracked time, let's ungroup it by team. And then I see all the different agents. Let's change it to Tymeshift. And I can see who tracked untracked time. So we have Alicia, a few other folks. Yeah, so I will be able to really address. So for now, I don't necessarily see anyone really alarming to have a really long untracked time. But if you see folks with hours of untracked time or comparing it to other agents and seeing huge differences, for sure you could approach them, try to understand if they're simply not using aux codes or they are skipping working on tickets, so you can definitely have more context in how agents are spending their time and where there are possibilities to improve their productivity overall. Now, there are different ways as well how you can build these reports. You can slice it and dice it, as you saw. We have different dimensions that you can add. You can view hourly reports. For example, you can change the initial grouping to, for example, ticket status. You can also take a look into that, and then ticket ID. And yeah, let's do it this way. Activity type, ticket status, and ticket ID. Let's save it. So here, let's take a look at, for example, first response time. I see tier one workstream has the first response time of 8 hours and 14 minutes. That's way past our SLAs. So I would want to understand what happened here. So then I expand it and I see that open ticket. All right. And then if I go into the third level of grouping, I can actually see the exact tickets. And here I would look for the ones that had a really long first response time. So here I can see this ticket was responded only after almost 7 hours. So this is where I would definitely start the investigation to understand what happened, why the team didn't actually hop onto that ticket sooner to actually meet the SLAs that we have, why the SLA was breached. And you can, I see another one for 18 and 15 hours. So you can really hop into and start the investigations there to really understand how to improve the customer experience, first of all, right? And team's productivity. Yeah, our hourly average handle time as well is a great report to use to understand how the where you might need to actually change some staffing. For instance, here we have the average handle time 27 minutes. Maybe we need more folks in there. Also, you can drill down to understand what sort of tickets are coming through that are actually taking more time. Yeah, that's phone calls that actually might be more complex, so you can really dig in here. One of the other things that I didn't mention is the number of metrics that we have that folks can select from. So there's wide array of all the different metrics that we have: occupancy rate, self points per productive hour, and so forth. So really feel free to dig in and see what makes sense for your business, what commitments you have set up with your customers as well. And Tymeshift will help you to make sure that you have great visibility into how the performance for these metrics is actually doing for the current day and historically. Speaking of the current day, quick note, because I see we're almost at the time, I wanted to touch base on another great feature that we have, which we call dashboards. So dashboards will allow you to build a view of different widgets that we also have to offer with many different metrics. So in the dashboards, you have few to choose from. So basically, you have 3 dashboards that you can build at this time. We're looking to expand that capability in the future. In each dashboard, you will have 12 different widgets, or these building blocks that you can use to build your own view of what is important for you to track for the current day. Dashboard would only show you the current day's results. So here, for example, you can see that we're tracking the solved tickets per day. So, and it will show you throughout the timeline throughout the day when those tickets are actually coming in, how many private comments happened so far, escalated tickets, who's currently working on what, who is in the adherence and out of adherence. So you can see all of the red highlighted folks that currently are out of adherence. Tickets received, inbound volume versus forecasted volume, a great insight as well to understand. Maybe you actually might need to have more people coming in because maybe there's an outage or some marketing campaign that's generating more volume. So you can keep a track of that here. Average first response time. For example, here you can set the widget with a goal, specific goal. So here the goal is below 9 hours. So currently the team is meeting this requirement and the current first solve time is 5 hours. And here you will actually see the work streams that you would build those widgets for. So you can also select specific work streams that you want to keep a track of. So that basically concludes the real and historical reporting section of Tymeshift. So just quick reminder, you will find those details on the top navigation bar under this folder with a little person shape. So we have agent activity, agent attendance, agent status, forecast versus actual. We're going to actually touch on our future sessions. And then we have the reports where you will see the information for the default attendance and then all the custom reports that you're welcome to build. And then we have the dashboards here with all the building blocks for you to really play around and build what is important for you. And yeah, just again, a plugin. If you have any questions or if you would like some help from our teams, feel free to reach out to support@tymeshift.com or success@tymeshift.com. Thank you, everyone.